of 63 sub-agencies within the Department of Defense, only 6 can pass an audit. 6 of 63, less than 10%. It's an outrage.
The waste that is going on in the Department of Defense is just amazing. I mean, we could educate all of our children. We could definitely give free tuition to anybody who wanted to go to college for 4 years with the type of money that's been wasted in the Department of Defense. Let's begin by saying that 16 years ago, the Chief Financial Officers Act of 1990 was passed. That required that an audit be done of each of the departments. In the 16 years that we have had that law, the Department of Defense has been unable to pass an audit. In fact, the latest audit shows that the Department of Defense doesn't know where $1.5 trillion money's worth of equipment is in the world that belongs to the Department of Defense. That means they lost tanks, they've lost computers. They just don't know where $1.5 trillion worth of equipment is. They need to get their act together.
And Halliburton has been Exhibit A with respect to the fraud, waste, and abuse that's occurring, and the fact that the Department of Defense has done so little to oversee their run on the taxpayer. Whether it's wartime or peacetime, I think we should all agree that we have a responsibility to safeguard the public treasury and the tax dollars. And clearly, what many have seen was that the war in Iraq and other conflicts around the world have been a green light for a run on the treasury and for waste, fraud, and abuse. We had a number of witnesses, former employees of Halliburton, in front of the Government Reform Committee. They said their motto and what their superiors told them was, don't worry about the expenses. It's a cost-plus contract. In other words, no matter how wasteful you are, the federal taxpayer is going to pick up the tab, and Halliburton will benefit. So when a big truck broke down, for example, because it had a flat tire, in some cases they abandoned the truck altogether rather than fix the tire. When Halliburton had to decide whether they were going to put up their employees in 5-star hotels or whether they were going to put up in more economy hotels to protect taxpayer, 5-star hotels, run up the price tab to the American taxpayer because they get a cut, because Halliburton got a cut out of that. And the Defense Department simply looked the other way.
When it comes to running and administering this office, let's, for the moment, put aside the mishandled war in Iraq, the failure of intelligence with regard to weapons of mass destruction. Let's put aside the wrong-headed decisions to embrace Ahmad Chalabi and all that that's led to, including him openly confessing that he lied to us. Let us put aside for the moment the lack of body armor and the results that that's had with regard to our Marine forces and the casualties that they incurred. Let us put aside the fact that he didn't take the advice of General Shinseki, and let us put aside the 8 generals who have called for his resignation, and then focus just simply, as my colleagues have, at the fiscal mismanagement that under any board of directors or any gathering of a board of directors about the CEO of a company would have him removed. But in this administration, you don't get removed, you get rewarded. And so, in bipartisan manner, we've decided that Donald Rumsfeld certainly is deserving of this dubious distinction.
As I'm looking at this drain, I would recommend that you consider making it a tub, because we have a tub full of waste, fraud, and abuse. It is of an order of magnitude that is so extraordinary, I dare say that it rivals the era of the Teapot Dome scandal. It is egregious. No oversight, no investigation. If the American people want to have their questions asked, they have to go in November and bring in new management.
Clearly, we have another deserving recipient of the Golden Drain Award, and today the Truth Squad on Waste, Fraud, and Abuse gives its second award to Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld.